We are on the construction site. We see the foreman with the new members of his team.
Hello, welcome to our company. Today is your first day at work with us. We do not start working on the site immediately. First, I want you to know how you can avoid accidents on construction sites and how to protect your health. Our topic is workplace health and safety protection. So why is this important?
Because many accidents happen on construction site.
Exactly. There are more serious accidents on construction sites than in any other areas. There are also other threats to your health. For example, contact with dangerous substances or extended exposure to the sun can cause skin cancer if you do not protect yourself. Now I would like to introduce you to the safety signs on construction sites and your personal protective equipment. We begin with the safety signs. The most important ones are at the entrance to the construction site. As you can see, there are red, blue, yellow and green safety signs. The red signs are prohibitory signs. That means you must not do something. The blue signs are mandatory signs. This means that you must do something. Yellow signs are warning signs. They warn you about danger, and the signs in green are emergency signs. They show, for example, where an emergency phone or the first aid room is. We often find that the following mandatory sign on construction sites: wear protective clothing, wear helmets, safety goggles, safety mask, safety shoes, gloves, ear protection, respiratory protection, safety belt. These are the prohibitory signs. What do we often see at the entrance to a construction site? No entry for unauthorised personnel. Unauthorised personnel are people who do not work on the site. They cannot be here because it is too dangerous for them. Sometimes there is also a sign, no smoking. If a construction site is near a pavement, then you often see the sign, no pedestrians. They must cross the road and continue on the other side. And now, the warning signs. The sign with the lightning symbol means warning of electrical danger. Other signs warn about suspended loads or trip hazards or risk of falling. The signs in green are emergency signs. They show, for example, where an emergency phone, the first aid room or the emergency exit is. Now, let's talk about your personal protective equipment. What is included?
The safety helmet.
Right. We all have to wear a helmet, including me. You all have a yellow one, but mine is white, so you can always see where I am on the site. A helmet is very important. It protects the head from many dangers. What are the dangers on a construction site?
If something falls from a scaffold, like a hammer, a bucket, or a brick.
Yes, you can be seriously hurt if you don't wear a helmet.
You can also be hurt when building materials or tools fall from a lorry or a roof, or if a crane drops some or its entire load.
Yes, or when a co-worker slips and falls from a scaffolding. All these accidents can happen.
Each of you has a new helmet. Please put it on. Do they all fit? You see, it is very comfortable. The helmet is also not heavy. It weighs only 300 grams, so you get no headaches. But there are other advantages. Can you think of any?
It protects against rain.
Yes, and it also lets air in. You sweat less than when you wear a cap or a hat. The helmet also protects your head from the sun. Too much sun is harmful to your health. When it is very cold in winter, you can put a woolly hat under the helmet. Earmuffs or a headband protect your ears too, so you will never be cold when you wear a protective helmet. Got it? Now let us focus on the safety boots. You must always wear these boots when on site. It is not permitted to work on site wearing sports or any other shoes. What else is part of your personal protective equipment?
A protection for the ears and the eyes.
You are right. Ear protection is necessary for all who work with very loud machinery or who are close to it. For example, the table saw or the pneumatic drill, or the air hammer or angle grinder. There are several ways to protect your ears with earmuffs or earplugs. The next point is the eye and face protection. Why is eye and face protection important?
To protect against concrete, wood, metal chips, glass fragments, grinding sparks, dust or chemicals.
And sprays of mortar welding sparks. For this, there are many types of protective eyewear. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question. What can I do if my eyes are splashed with mortar? I know this has happened to my colleagues. Is this very dangerous?
This depends on the substance, but we always have to be very cautious. Sprays of mortar can cause acid burns to the eyes or the skin. The same is true for all kinds of acids and alkali. So what can you do in case of an accident? First, try carefully removing the substances. Then rinse your eyes or skin for 10 to 15 minutes with plenty of clean water, or use a special eye wash solution. Finally, cover your eye with a clean cloth. When you work on a construction site, always take care that you do not get in contact with any chemicals. Let's talk about hand protection. So when do we need to protect our hands? Whenever we are working with fresh concrete or mortar, or with hazardous substances such as acids or rough and pointed objects, or objects with sharp edges. We use different types of gloves on the construction site. These mittens are for rough work. Then we have 3-finger gloves and 5-finger gloves. Please always make sure that the gloves are not damaged. Make sure that they have no holes or tears. Gloves with holes or tears must not be used. Gloves also protect from electric shock. This is not true for all electrical appliances. Are there any exceptions?
We must not wear gloves when we are working with a circular saw or a drill. It's too dangerous.
Right. There are other ways in which we can protect hands and body from hazardous substances or radiation. These include skin protection creams, such as sun creams, in the summertime. It is always a good idea to apply a cream on your face and hands. Wash your hands with plenty of water when you finish your work, and then use a hand cream. Your personal protective equipment includes a respiratory protection. Here you can see a mask. You have to wear a mask so you don't inhale harmful gases or other hazardous substances. There are masks with and without filters. Now, onto the safety rope. How can it protect you?
It can protect yourself against the risk of falling from a high place.
For instance, when you're working on a roof.
Correct, especially when you work on a pitched roof, or when the weather is bad and there is a risk of slipping. In these situations, you have to rope up with a rope kit. It includes a tether, a safety rope, and a harness. You work a lot outside, in summer and in winter, in rain, snow, cold and wind. You can protect yourself against bad weather with special protective clothing. This includes protective boots. Look, the jacket is lined. The boots are very warm, so you are not cold. And lastly, some of your work near roads where cars and lorries pass or pedestrians walk. In this case, you must wear reflective clothing. This includes a vest or a jacket and trousers with reflective stripes. Any other questions? If there are no more questions, then I can give you a few more hints for your health and safety on construction sites. My first tip, how to lift and carry loads in the right way. Why is this so important? Who can explain this?
I know even young workers who have problems with their backs. Some of them can no longer work on construction sites.
Yes. When you carry heavy materials in the wrong way, you can have problems with your back. So how can you avoid this? Here are some tips. When you lift loads, always bend your knees. Always stand up with a straight back. Lift the load close to your chest. If you do so, you'll have fewer problems with your back and spine. Make sure you see clearly in front of you when you're carrying something, or you could trip and fall. Tip number 2, clean the site. Then you'll not trip over lying tools and materials such as bricks, pieces of wood, nails, buckets, boxes, and cables. There is always a great risk of injury. Tip number 3, if your materials are transported in a wheelbarrow, make sure you do it safely. Do not cross an opening on narrow wooden slats. Tip number 4, if you work near openings in the wall or floor, or on a balcony, then you have to protect yourself from falling down. This applies to scaffolding too, or when you use a ladder. Do you have any more questions? No more questions? Good, then we can start working. Now put on your safety shoes, put on a helmet, and take your gloves with you.